Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight the spotlight is on Deepika Padukone, but this is not the kind of spotlight she would necessarily enjoy. Cameras tracking her every move as she left Goa airport earlier today. Nothing new for the 100 crore club actress, but this kind of scrutiny she must have rarely faced. Today, those cameras weren't waiting for her to flash a smile at them or pose for the paparazzi. Today, they wanted answers out of her. She left the Goa airport hand in hand with husband Ranveer Singh just about over an hour ago, and any minute now Deepika Padukone is expected to exit the Mumbai airport. Her flight has landed in Mumbai and she's likely to come out very soon. These are visuals that we are getting for you from Goa and when she reached the airport, and on the right side of your screens are we are getting you visuals, and Siddhant Mishra, my colleague, is at the airport in Mumbai. Siddhant, how soon are we expecting Deepika Padukone to come out from the airport, and any questions that the NCB will be asking that you can think of at this point, because there is going to be Deepika Padukone, and on the right side of our screen is Rakulpreet Singh, who has also, we understand, landed in Mumbai from Hyderabad. So both these ladies headed for the Narcotics Control Bureau tomorrow, and that's where the questioning is going to take place. Siddhant with me. Siddhant, any information on when the flight landed and how soon is Deepika expected to come out, escorted of course by not just the security but her husband Ranveer Singh?
Well, that's right, Navika. We can break this for our viewers that the flight has landed. You can see her managers are right at the gate, the exit gate of General Aviation Terminal. And you see the Merc, the black Merc is parked. Any moment from now, the couple will walk out. They will sit inside the car, and there you see, Navika, police vehicle is parked right outside, blocking the gate. So they will be escorted by the Mumbai police, keeping in mind the media tracking this case. The police security has been given. There would be one more SUV which is going to follow them. Now the question that we have for Deepika Padukone is that these chats are almost 36 months old. Why at that point in time she was talking to Karishma about maal, about weed, hash? Was she into drugs at that point in time, and that was the only time she was into drug, or is she still consuming drug, or does she have any links with any drug cartel, big drug cartel in Bollywood, existing in Bollywood? So these are some pinpointed questions that we are surely going to ask both to Deepika and Ranveer, as Ranveer is with her. He is with Deepika Padukone. He was in Goa, and we've also been told, Navika, that she was with her legal team also in Goa. There were a proper briefing and debriefing process that took place in Goa. And Navika, you know, even questions are being raised that why Karishma sought for an exemption from NCB. Was it a strategic move by Deepika's legal team? So all these questions are for Deepika Padukone. Now the fact here is that she also has asked for an exemption despite landing in Mumbai today. She has asked Narcotics Control Bureau that not tomorrow, I can come day after tomorrow. So day after tomorrow, Deepika Padukone will come to Evelyn Guest House, where the Delhi teams of Narcotics Control Bureau is camping. Now let me take our viewers to the visuals. Let's stick to those visuals. You can see the Mumbai police commandos, the managers of Deepika Padukone, and we can see the General Aviation staff, along with almost 8 to 9 people standing right there waiting for the couple to walk out. Now I really don't know what is going on inside, why they have not come out yet. Mostly it just takes 15 minutes time. Usually when a VIP gets down from a chartered plane, there's a process, a very minor process, where you have to give your name and an identity proof. Once that particular channel is clear, you are allowed to walk out. Now here the procedure is very different from a routine procedure, what a common common man follows. So it hardly takes 10 to 15 minutes. Now the flight has landed at around 20-50 hours, but they have not come out yet. What is going inside, we really don't know. But yes, we can tell this to our viewers. We are expecting them any moment from now, keeping in mind the movements are happening outside. You can see the managers is speaking to somebody inside on phone. We have the commandos there. We have Mumbai police personnel. We have Maharashtra police personnel, CISF also here. So all these forces are here for the bandobast, and this black Mercedes has come to receive Ranveer and Deepika Padukone. So it's going to be very significant. Navika,
So,
we all know on Saturday.
Stay with me. We'll keep our camera on that gate. I don't know if the media is going to be allowed to come anywhere close to the car where Deepika is expected to get in, because that seems to be inside, and maybe she just comes out, sits in the car. But we will try and train our camera on the entrance. Nizam bhai, if we can just tell the camera, to keep a vigil for Deepika coming out. But on a day when we are expecting Deepika to land in Mumbai, she sought an exemption in appearance tomorrow. Clearly, this is a question that has now been brought up by a certain section, a lobby that continues to say that Deepika is being targeted by government agencies only because she's taken a position against the government. And that is the big story right here, and that is also going to be the debate that we are going to follow on the Newshour tonight. Let me just first look at the whole issue here. JNU appearance linked to questioning of Deepika. Is JNU analogy an attempt to muddy the drugs probe? That's the legitimate question that we're asking. Well, even before she landed in Maximum City to face the narcotics watchdog, her supporters had come up with this bizarre analogy. Congress leaders jumped to her defense by reminding the country of her 2020 JNU appearance in January. They claimed it was vendetta by the central agency as she stood with JNU students against the government. On the case tonight, let me tell you how this charge just doesn't hold too much water. Karti Chidambaram, a member of parliament of the Congress party, said the government was settling scores with Deepika for her support to the left-leaning JNU student group. But let me ask Mr. Karti Chidambaram tonight, don't the maal chats of Deepika and her manager at least warrant an investigation? Majid Memon of the NCP, a lawyer by profession, has made a similar charge. He linked the NCP summons to Deepika to her JNU visit yet again. But can the opposition leaders explain what really is the link between these two developments? Deepika, can she deny that these chats belong to her? Can Mr. Memon explain the connection between Deepika's drug chats and her JNU visit? Nagma, a face known to the industry, probably knows the fraternity's secret, also chose to be a politician first on this issue. She said Deepika stood with JNU students, not Kangana, and hence Deepika is now in the NCP's net. And not Kangana, who is also allegedly a drug user, according to Nagma. But tell me this, does politics precede a crackdown on the drug mafia? Now, we are not declaring anyone guilty right here. We are just asking those questions that the NCB tonight has raised, and based on which they have issued these summons to all the actors who were in touch with a common group of people. Deepika Padukone, Sara Ali Khan, Rakul Preet Singh, Simon Khambata, all in touch with Jaya Saha, Riya Chakravarti and other members of the Quan talent agency, including Madhu Matena, who is a shareholder in Quan. So the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight is just this. Is the JNU analogy an attempt to muddy the drugs probe? That's the question and the debate.
You're watching the Newshour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Well, let's introduce the panel on the show tonight. Dr. Sambit Patra, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Shehzad Poonawalla, lawyer, M.R. Venkatesh, political analyst, Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst, Dr. Suman Siraman and Kishore Tiwari, Shiv Sena supporter. But Dr. Suman Siraman, to you first. Why is the Congress party, why are members of the opposition looking at this from a JNU prism? Are you saying that if there is a drug so-called circuit in which, there are common people talking to each other and there are conversations on hash, weed, etc. Should they not be questioned? Should they be seen as something that happens, status quo, hota hai, hone do?
Okay, before we get into that, Navika, I have a couple of questions. One, how is, why, or there's no problem with why, I think everybody knows the answer, but who is actually leaking these chats to the media? One. Second, how is it that these chats have actually been got from WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp has a very clear policy that they are not able to delete recorded chats, they are not able to retrieve deleted chats after a period of time. So where these chats actually obtained through due process of law itself is now something which we have to, raise questions on. Third, obviously, is the fact that WhatsApp chats are zero evidence unless they are corroborated. So this kind of, the entire attempt seems to be more at slandering than really getting to the bottom of this and establishing any great case against them, which on the basis of pure WhatsApp chat is nigh impossible. As any lawyer will tell you, MRV is there, he is also a lawyer, so he can tell you definitely that purely on the basis of WhatsApp chat, nothing can be done. They do not on their own constitute any kind of evidence unless they have found something further. Now, I come back to the question of privacy that is being, which is being harmed here. These are individuals, they are condemned and they are being slandered on national media. They are without any firm evidence having emerged of any significant wrongdoing. At this point of time, everything that you say is pure and simple speculation, and at the most, what started as Sushant Singh Rajput's case, a justice for him, has now become nothing but a diversionary tactic.
Your Lordship, Dr. Suman Siraman, Your Lordship, Dr. Suman Siraman, every day you shoot me because I pronounce guilt, I become the judge, but today, Your Lordship, you are the judge on the panel tonight because you have said I have destroyed privacy. Have I followed the law? Well, I'm asking you a question whether consuming hash and consuming weed is in the present context allowed in law. उसका तो जवाब है नहीं कोई और आप मुझे कह रहे हैं. May I tell you, Dr. Suman Siraman, एक मिनट. On my show, at least allow me to ask you a question, no? You want to be the judge also, you want to be the anchor also. I'm only saying, Dr. Suman Siraman, why did I not hear the same destruction of privacy of the defense ministry? No less. When the Rafale documents were leaked and read out of context by certain people, printed on the front page of newspapers, and you sat here in various debates upholding the right of the people to know the truth in the Rafale case, but in drug cases nobody should know the truth. The truth should be kept covered forever. Dr. Suman Siraman, you always accuse journalists of not being consistent. अरे भैया आप तो consistent हो जाओ. आप तो consistent हो जाओ, sir. You can be consistent. We will learn a lesson or two from you. Shehzad Poonawalla, I want to ask you, आज डॉक्टर सुमन सिरामन को privacy का बड़ा ख्याल आ रहा है. राफेल के डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री के जब पेपर्स गए थे तब प्रिवेसी ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट्स एक्ट याद नहीं आया था. We never asked and he never told us which process of law had been followed in taking those papers out.
Security of the country, public money, that is a matter of public interest.
Navika,
okay.
Now if I may, because I know Suman Siraman is a terrible panelist, but even worst anchor he would have made.
Shehzad Poonawalla.
There's an echo in my ear. I hope that will be corrected, but I'll make my point nonetheless. And I know it is difficult to deal with Suman as a panelist, but I'm thankful Times Now is not going to hire him as an anchor. But now let me make my point. This is something Suman C. Raman left with us last time when he appeared on your show.
1 minute,
it's called
Suman
the
C.
permanent
Raman.
victim card.
Allow everybody to be heard.
No abuse. No personal attack. Fight my point.
Okay.
What I'm
calling
saying.
you a panelist and an anchor is an abuse.
It means that you have
Suman C. Raman.
All right, no personal attack. No personal attack.
Spoken.
I did not attack him.
Okay, I take the personal attack back. Now can I make my point? Okay, now can I? Okay, thank you, Mr. Raman.
Suman, why you will develop vocal nodules if you shout like this? You are a ENT surgeon.
Thank you. In the interest of fairness. Now, in the interest of fairness, Suman C. Raman, now stop it. Okay, thank you. There's a complete echo. Nizam bhai, if you could please correct it. Okay, thank you. Now, the point that I'm trying to make, thank you. Now, I'm trying to make Navika is that it's not Suman C. Raman's fault. Suman C. Raman has got this idea from another Rahul, and another Rahul has been tweeting all day long, not Rahul Shiv Shankar, but another Rahul who nobody is watching these days. That Rahul has tweeted that, oh, listen, this is a complete violation of privacy. Those who've made their entire careers on sting operations, those who've made their entire careers about leaking documents of government to prove their point, are today now saying, "100 छुए खाकर ये दूसरे वाले राहुल हज को चले and Suman C हज को चले." And these people have a permanent victim card. I want to bring out their victim card. When Burhan Wani and Afzal Guru are taken to task, ये हालात के मारे थे. याकूब मेमन, ये बेचारा मुस्लिम था इसलिए पकड़ा गया. ताहिर हुसैन and Umar Khalid, all these poor Muslims have been caught in the Delhi riots. और कुछ नहीं बचा तो Deepika Padukone has been targeted for JNU. I mean, permanent victimhood and permanent vendetta card. But here is my question to them. That Riya becomes a Bengali Brahmin and they play the patriarchy card there. They've even played a patriarchy card on the fact that NCB has summoned all these women and no men. But Mr. Madhu Mantera has also been summoned. My point is only this, that when there is the Swachh Bollywood Abhiyan, ये Bollywood का खानदान क्यों है परेशान? Should they not be coming out and today taking a stand that yes, there is a problem of drugs in Bollywood? But instead of doing that, they target Kangana, they target Times Now, they target Navika, and they have everything to say on every issue except for the real issue that Bollywood में drugs क्यों चल रहा था and why was Mumbai police allowing it?
Well,
there's a term for this and it's called projection.
What projection, sir?
What the other person, what you do, you accuse the other person of, so that's called projection.
Well, Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you.
Rahul Gandhi might be doing.
What you are doing is called Rudali Rona. What you are doing is Rudali Rona.
So you mean to say Rahul Gandhi is projecting his guilt on someone else?
Rudali Rona.
I really didn't understand. I didn't understand over here.
आपको तो समझ आएगी नहीं ना डॉक्टर पात्रा, because JNU की वजह से आज आपने दीपिका पाडुकोन पर ये सब आपने चार्जेस लगाए हैं, उनको बुलवाया है NCB के द्वारा, तो आपको तो कैसे समझ आएगा? Respond to the charges against you, Dr. Sambit Patra.
But first, with a good advice to my professional friend, Dr. Suman C. Raman, because nowadays I'm unable to distinguish. You know, I think it's about 10 feet, the distance between me and the television channel. I'm unable to distinguish between the antiques of Mr. Suman C. Raman and Nasir Abdullah. So beware. नासिर अब्दुल्ला जी 3 दिन से नहीं आ रहे हैं टीवी पे, मुझे लगता है एनसीबी ने उनको बुला लिया है उनका एंटिक्स देखकर. सो प्लीज बी वेयर, डोंट ड्रॉप इन, ये झूम के डिबेट करना बंद करिए, आराम से बोलिए. नाविका, फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, लुक, आई मीन एज फार एज द यूजुअल सस्पेक्ट्स आर कंसर्न्ड, दे डिड नॉट वांट एनी इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ बुरहान वानी, दे डिड नॉट वांट एनी इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ याकूब मेमन. दे सेड दैट याकूब मेमन वाज हैंग्ड बिकॉज ही वाज अ मुस्लिम. These people do not want any questions, any answers to be given out when their cabal is in question. But when anything else, if a pin drops anywhere else, then they yell, they shout, they come out with their placards, and then they say that they are ashamed to be Indians. This is sheer hypocrisy. My simple question is, did we enter into the mobile phone of Deepika Padukone and did we tweet, maal lao hamare liye, mujhe maal chahiye? Was it Bharatiya Janata Party which did all this? Did we force them on a gunpoint to go and do drug business? Of course not. If you have heard, the law of the land is same for everyone, for me, for Mr. Venkatesh, for Deepika and for Navika. And let me concludingly say, no one is instigating Deepika, Shraddha or anyone. I would not, with all due respect, I'm a fan of her. No one is instigating them. It is an opportunity rather, since certain evidences have cropped up, please come and clean the airs around this. This is an opportunity. Go and say that no, this is not my chat. Go and say no, I have not done drugs. Go and say I have not procured drugs. It is an opportunity. This is how democracies function.
I'm sorry, Dr. Patra, I just want to ask you, are you comparing Deepika Padukone with Yaqub Memon and Burhan Wani? That would be rather extreme, just because she went to JNU.
No.
Dr. Patra, shouldn't
No,
you be comparing
you got me
with
wrong.
Ajmal Kasam?
I am comparing Rana Ayub's, Nasir Abdullah's and Dr. Suman Siraman with the gang, the usual suspects. The usual suspects defended even Yaqub Memon, they defended even Burhan Wani. So leave aside a small 50-gram drug taker. I mean, all these placard walas and walis have become tarazu walas and walis since day before yesterday. Jabse Navika ne maal ka zikr kiya hai, ye sab tarazu wale bane hue hain. हाँ, ये तो सिर्फ 50 ग्राम लिया था, ये तो सिर्फ 1 ग्राम लिया था, ये तो थोड़ा-थोड़ा खाया है. I mean, all these kind of bunkum things are not going to hold any ground. Please request these taraju walas to please come out and hold placard again and say that hame chahiye azadi from drugs. If you really have the gumption of fighting for the truth, come out and say hame chahiye azadi from drugs.
But Dr.
Let us see if we can do that.
Dr. Patra, you know, on a serious note, yes, drugs may be a big issue. Drugs may be a big issue, but the issue really here is there evidence enough for the Narcotics Control Bureau to do a parade of this kind? Not just one actor. Deepika Padukone, Rakulpreet Singh, Sara Ali Khan and Simon Khambata, everybody is being called. Now, for calling people, because here we are talking of reputations as well, and that is one point that I will pick up from what Dr. Suman Siraman said, that there are reputations at stake. There is privacy point, you know, let's put that aside. I'll come back to that later, but there is a reputation that is at stake. Is there enough evidence to parade these people, number one, for something like this, you know, just a chat?
Let me answer that. Number one, first and foremost, reputation is not an entitlement. Reputation is something which you live up to. And the ones who are famous, the ones who are role models of crores of people, have to live by their reputation every minute. Remember, every minute. If I, as a spokesperson of Bharatiya Janata Party, or even for a second or even for a minute in a national camera or anywhere, I would be caught hold of there and there. Secondly, as far as privacy is concerned, see, privacy is totally in the hands of the camera. So if the media channels cease to show them, in airports, etc., their privacy will not be breached. Number two. Number three, remember, Navika, you are an ace reporter. You had reported Nitish Katara's case, Jessica Lal murder case, the Delhi rape case, the gory Delhi rape case. But for people like you, but for channel like yours, but for media personnel like you all, these cases would have gone down the drains. No one would have known as to who had murdered Nitish Katara. No one would have known what happened to Jessica Lal. Well, yes, in fact, it was the politicians who were paraded. Remember, every second day new politicians' name cropped up. Just as politicians felt that they were entitled, but you all broke the entitlement of politicians. Today it's the time for the Bollywood. Be it political world, be it Bollywood. No industry has entitlement.
Tehseen Poonawalla, that's a fact. That's a fact. You know, this whole bogey of privacy is brought in. My dear Mr. Poonawalla, the other Poonawalla, I don't know which one is younger or which one is older, but
I'm definitely more intelligent.
I'm younger and smarter. I'm
definitely more intelligent.
Acha, theek hai. All right, we'll have a competition. So let's have both the Poonawallas
prove it.
on a very fierce attack against each other on rapid fire. But I want to ask you, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, you are somebody who goes to court at the drop of a hat. Now, I want to ask you, where is privacy coming into the picture when there is a criminal case, which is the mystery death of Sushant Singh Rajput. And everybody who raises this question about, how is this murder investigation or alleged murder investigation getting into the realm of drugs? My dear, it came into the realm of drugs only because the people who were close to Sushant Singh Rajput, whose call detail records and WhatsApps were looked at, were seen to be in touch with other people, and that's how the chain developed. From Riya Chakravarti to Jaya Saha to Shruti Modi, from Jaya Saha to Deepika, from Jaya Saha also to others, and the fact that Riya Chakravarti herself has named Simon Khambata and Rakulpreet Singh and Sara Ali Khan. So these all flow from the same. When there is a crime that has been committed, where does anything remain private after that? It is a criminal investigation which will get opened up. अब ये थोड़ी कह सकते हैं कि यार कोई मर गया तो मर गया, कोई बात नहीं, पर मेरा फोन जो है वो प्राइवेट है, मेरा मैसेज प्राइवेट है, मैं नहीं बताऊंगा. Laws of the land apply.
Of course, ma'am. At the onset, let me congratulate you. You've been breaking these stories and being proved absolutely correct. It is amazing, ma'am, that BJP leaders and BJP government can count condoms in JNU, can count how much hash somebody consumed in 2017, sometimes has folded. Read the WhatsApp chats of our farmers. 1 crore farmers are coming on the street. I know that Times Now will be covering the farmers live on 25th. I am sure of Times Now. Let me come to this point and make my second pertinent point, because we're going to read, it's not about farmers. Ma'am, today, the story in Indian Express, a paper you work with, is Manipur BJP leader caught with drugs worth 27 crore. Massive BJP leaders in Maharashtra, a gentleman called Sambit Singh, who somehow connected to the BJP, who apparently is called the BJP office, his name featuring has not been called. Now, why do I say this? Because 2017, Devendra Fadnavis was Chief Minister, Home Minister, these restaurants were running illegal. Now, the proof of BJP involvement comes very staggeringly when the Punjab Chief Minister kept saying that the DSP was caught with gold and was involved in drug trade. The BJP government never prosecuted him. Devendra Singh, the other guy who's Kashmir chap, who was involved with drug trade, BJP is not going after him. So my question is, why do all these drug trades happen when BJP is in power? It comes from Goa, Gujarat, where BJP government is.
Tehseen Poonawalla, you call your point pertinent, but there is one absurd argument after another. One absurd argument after another that you put up. The first argument that was put up, and Nagma from the Congress party, Karti Chidambaram from the Congress party have argued that JNU connection of Deepika, and that's why she's being targeted. I want to ask you.
That's true.
That's true?
That's true. Absolutely.
So Rakulpreet Singh also went to JNU. Did Rakulpreet Singh go to JNU? Did Sara Ali Khan go to JNU? Did Simon Khambata go to JNU? Why do you make facile arguments, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, which you yourself cannot protect?
I'll answer
Navika,
this date 25th, which is now
Navika, let me come in here. Let me come in here. Now it is
because the farmers are going to protest. 25th was given to take coverage away from the farmers. By the
Mr. Tehseen conspiracy theory wala.
Let me answer this. I'll answer this.
Conspiracy theory wala. May I tell you that Deepika is also now in cahoots with the Congress party because she has changed her date of appearance before the Narcotics Control Bureau to Saturday the 26th so that we can cover without any disturbance the farmers' protest. Shehzad Poonawalla, I don't understand where they get these conspiracy theories by the kilo, drugs by grams, conspiracy theories by tons and kilos. That's the way these opposition leaders are working today.
I'll answer this. You see, after DP has come out, entire Bollywood and TP are in DP. Now, Tehseen, don't do this. Don't do this.
Sorry.
After
But
DP has come out, entire Bollywood and TP are in DP. That means after Deepika Padukone's drug problem has come out, entire Bollywood and Tehseen Poonawalla are in depression problem. And they are giving ridiculous arguments. They have said, I'll tell you, Tehseen is feeling for the farmers because one of his relatives is a small farmer, as Bhupinder Hooda had told us about his small farming going around in Gurgaon, you know, the village, the farmlands of Gurgaon. Anyways, but I'll tell you one thing. Please tell me, Tehseen Poonawalla, the intelligent Tehseen Poonawalla, you are invoking first of all this farmer angle, then you are invoking privacy. What happened to the privacy when a out of work journalist who does some kind of journalism in the burqa of journalism, in fact, she got the physician, so-called physician of Sushant Singh Rajput, the psychologist of Sushant Singh Rajput, and put out his so-called history of being bipolar. This same TP and his mandali were saying, whoa, bravo, Sushant was indeed bipolar. What happened about the privacy and dignity then? हर रोज तुम लोगों ने स्टिंग ऑपरेशन किया है, रफाल के डॉक्यूमेंट छाप छाप के डाले हैं, और आज आप आकर बोलते हैं कि प्रिवेसी का क्या हुआ. Second, he is saying about JNU and farmer issue. Oh, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, which farmer is on Twitter watching what is happening in the Twitter world or in Times Now and then is saying that, oh, now what will happen about my protest? Please lead the protest with your small farmer relative tomorrow morning. I request you at 9 a.m. to go to Vijay Chowk and start your protest with that farmer who goes to Lodi Garden, and you and he should both start protesting so 9 a.m.
And
so
just,
please don't make that rubbish argument.
Just my advice, unsolicited, Tehseen Poonawalla, when you go for the farmers' protest, please don't wear your Rolex or your Piaget, because last time for the onion price protest you wore that, and that can be significantly ironical if you wear that kind of a watch. But MR Venkatesh, let's get back to serious things. 1 minute, MR Venkatesh, I want to ask you. All of them are talking about few grams here or there. What's the case? No evidence of anything that's been caught, and just some chats. That also 3 years ago. And then I've been asked the question of WhatsApps. And I've been trending now for 2 days. I've been trolled on Twitter because I'm supposed to be the so-called WhatsApp getter in this entire story. So, MR Venkatesh, is privacy the issue? Is drugs the issue? Is JNU the issue? Or are we actually talking about connections that are coming through because of a crime of either a suicide or a possible homicide?
Navika ji, first let me congratulate you for what you have done. You have done a signal service to the cause of eradicating drug menace in this country. Let us all salute you and congratulate you. Just full stop. Now, as far as Suman's problem with evidence is concerned, let me address that. Please understand, there are different layers of evidence when we go up in a case. There is an evidence to start a case and the evidence required to convict a case. Now, today, with the type of evidence that is floating, it is sufficient for NCB to call Deepika and investigate further. It is not that they are convicting her. For conviction, they may require a different class of evidence which they will get or they may not get. And finally, they may not even convict her. That is entirely between NCB and Deepika and whatever she has done or she has not done. But the problem, Navika, every evening before these panelists come at 7 p.m.,
it revolves at around 1 million revolutions per minute. And it separates these people from their intelligence and conscience. And so when they come in your program, they neither have intelligence, neither do they have conscience. So the problem that they are having, hello?
Yes, can hear you. Can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Well, we seem to have lost that connection with MR Venkatesh.
Hello?
We'll go back to him, but Ravi Srivastava, problem क्या है? Problem असल में क्या है? Are you saying the law as it exists today talks about banned substances and acquisition as well as distribution of drugs as illegal? Do you want us not to look at that law? If you want a change in the law, then maybe the opposition parties should change, that this is an archaic law. But as it exists today, the law stands at something. Can there be a protection saying that, अरे ये तो 50 ग्राम है, इससे तो कुछ नहीं होता? Or can you say, I didn't know, this is, available so freely, so I thought it was legally available. Is not knowing the law a protection for anybody in a legal case?
Every consumer knows the law very well, that what he or she is doing. So that's not an excuse that I did not know it and I consumed it. Everybody does it with his own choice, at his own cost and risk. But the fact is that the kind of charges which are made on Deepika are absolutely, baseless. And there is
one minute, Mr. Ravi Srivastava. Mr. Ravi Srivastava, what are you saying? You're factually incorrect. There are no charges that have been made against Deepika Padukone. There are no charges that have been made against Deepika Padukone. Her chats have appeared in connection with the phone calls of Jaya Saha, who is connected to Riya Chakravarti, who was connected to SSR. That's why she's been summoned.
Such chats are not admissible as an evidence alone. It has to be corroborated. This is fraud. You are doing a fraud. I am telling you. Openly I am telling you.
Dr. Patra.
No basis at all.
Patra.
You are doing a political vendetta.
Dr. Patra, political vendetta is the charge. Deepika पर कोई charge हो या ना हो, आप पर charge है कि आपने political vendetta के तहत दीपिका पादुकोण को समन किया है और आप सबको समन कर रहे हैं. Dr. Patra, respond.
See, Navika, first and foremost, one very important thing. As far as this privacy is concerned, let me be very clear over here. There is nothing called as a private illegal activity. For instance, there is nothing called as a private murder. Just because I'm murdering someone within the premises of my farmhouse. ये देखो, ये आप इतना, ये दीपिका जितना परेशान नहीं है, उनके चाचा उतना ज्यादा परेशान है. ये दीपिका जी के चाचा जी को बताना, जरा शांत रहेंगे. नाविका, ये दीपिका के चाचा है क्या? ये इतना क्यों चिल्ला रहे हैं? दीपिका तो मुस्कुरा रही थी. ये इनको देखो, इनको देखो, पूरा ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ा के बैठे हुए हैं.
Whether he is chacha of Deepika or not is his private matter. आप मुद्दे पर आ जाइए.
What privacy he has?
I'm telling you. Mr. Patra, don't make a story.
ये चिल्लाना बंद कर दे. See, Navika, first and foremost, let's get this thing settled for once and all. That there is nothing called as a private illegal activity. I cannot go and murder someone within the premises of my farmhouse and say, "Acha, this was my private farmhouse, so the murder is okay." There is nothing called as a private rape. Similarly, there is nothing called as private drug peddling and private drug consumption. There is nothing called like these. Number two. Navika, please, he should not fall ill. He's a good friend. We want to see him every day on TV debates. Navika, I want to say over here, I mean, look at these people's contention. The people's contention is, all this is frivolous. This does not hold the ground of law. So, well, yes, you should be happy. Why are you annoyed? If you feel that nothing holds the ground of the law, and in fact, no one has convicted, no one has instigated any of these actresses, including Deepika, rather, as I stated, they have been provided with an opportunity to go and talk about their chats. Remember, we are talking about chats, not chat. I mean, chat in English and chat in Hindi have different connotations altogether. So whether it was just a chat or a chart also, which will become subsequently clear when the actor and the actresses go and depose before the NCB.
Unfair, Dr. Patra, because I'm told hash and weed that she's talking about, hash better than weed, she said. चाटा नहीं जाता है. I'm told कुछ और होता है. लेकिन रवि श्रीवास्तव and Dr. Suman Siraman. Dr. Suman Siraman, what is your objection in this entire investigation?
My objection.
Okay, 1 minute, doctors. Mr. Ravi Srivastava, आपका incoming banned है क्या? Outgoing free है क्या? प्लीज 1 मिनट दूसरे को भी बोल लेने दीजिए.
मालूम है आपको किसको बोलने देना है, मुझे मालूम है.
डॉक्टर रामन, आपके कैंप के हैं, आपके कैंप के प्लेयर हैं, आपकी टीम के प्लेयर हैं, उनको दे रही हूँ चांस. 1 मिनट.
I don't know if some of the panelists here have come to score
तहसीन क्या देना चाहते हैं?
There is someone who says at the end of it there may be no evidence and they may all be a let off.
This is
Who is to compensate them for this slander that is going on if you don't have evidence? First of all, will their reputation be dragged through mud on the basis of not even a alleged WhatsApp chat? 1 minute.
No. You are mistaken because you don't know the fact.
All right, very pertinent question raised by Dr. Sumansi Raman. Who is to pay for the slander that will be caused to these individuals who have been summoned by the Narcotics Control Bureau if finally this doesn't lead to a conviction? This is slander, says Dr. Sumansi Raman. We'll take a short break at this point. When we come back, M.R. Venkatesh and Shehzad Poonawalla will answer the question of slander. Short break, back soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And just before the break, Dr. Sumansi Raman raised a very pertinent question about if this does not lead to a conviction, will these agencies, will the government actually pay damages for the loss of reputation to these individuals?
And media too.
Why media? We have never said anybody is guilty. We have never said. Why should media pay? No. Why should? Well, how much have you paid? How much have you paid the Prime Minister for defaming him for the Rafale case? The case came up in court, in the Supreme Court. There was a clean sheet. Rahul Gandhi called Prime Minister Modi chor hai. Why? How much damages did you pay? उस वक्त damages का ख्याल नहीं आया.
Rahul Gandhi issued an apology. Rahul Gandhi issued an apology to the court.
So where you know, I'm coming. No. This is a very pertinent point, and Shehzad Poonawalla, let me come to you first before I go to, and after that I come to Dr. Patra. Shehzad Poonawalla, the first thing is they will train their guns at the media. Why should the media pay? Have we become journalists to report only what comes out in press releases? Or is the Press Information Bureau enough of a body? Why have licenses been given to private channels so that they can report things that go beyond what Doordarshan puts out in terms of official news? That is why there is a free media in this country. Is Dr. Sumansi Raman's point that the media should not follow its dharma and it should be gagged? Is that what they want? Freedom of speech for them and gagging for us, Shehzad?
Now let me respond. It's my name is Shehzad. Now let me respond. Come on. Okay, Suman, you finished 20 seconds of berating, then I'll answer. You berate for 20 seconds, then I'll come in.
Please go
Have you
ahead.
finished? Thank you.
Go ahead, Shehzad.
Navika, I am ready. Thank you. Thank you. You know, Navika, Sumansi Raman is less of a doctor, more of a spin doctor. But I will take up his challenge. Sumansi Raman, I am ready to pay Deepika whatever charges she wants, provided you pay 1 rupee extra to Narendra Modi for calling him all kinds of things without proving anything against him. And secondly, for accepting that Kangana Ranaut was not slandered. Was Kangana Ranaut not slandered when she was called HK? When Kangana was called HK, was she slandered? You came and defended it. You master of coming out and saying everybody slandered. Your mouth was shut when Kangana was slandered. Why? Kangana के slander पर क्यों खामोश? और अब आपको क्यों लगता है इतना दोष? बताओ सुमंसी रामन.
किशोर तिवारी, let me ask you that question. जब शिवसेना के इतने बड़े नेता, एक मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट संजय राउत जी कंगना रनौत को गाली देते हैं और बाद में बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट कहता है कि जो बीएमसी ने किया कंगना के साथ वो मैलाफाइड था, तब किसने कॉम्पनसेशन दिया सर? किसी ने कॉम्पनसेशन दिया? ये जो आज कॉम्पनसेशन की बात कर
पिता की 2 बीवियां हैं, पिता की 2 बीवियां हैं कहा?
आप जो बात कर रही है मेरे बीच में कोई बोलेगा नहीं. देखो मैं बात कर रहा हूं तो मुझे कर रही थी ये कि डीएमसी का मैटर पूरा अभी हाईकोर्ट के पास है. और हाईकोर्ट ने अभी समझ दिया है संजय राउत को और वार्ड
करने से खत्म हो जाएगा टाइम।
तो अरे हाईकोर्ट को निर्णय लेने दो। और मैं एक बात बता देता हूं कि दो लोग पब्लिक डोमेन में है, मैं संबित पात्रा की बात को इंडोर्स करता हूं कि दो लोग पब्लिक डोमेन में है, वो लोग अपना बर्ताव अच्छा रखे। अगर समन्स देके उनको उनका क्लियरिफिकेशन मांग रही है एनसीबी, तो वो समन्स देने के बाद अपना क्लियरिफिकेशन रखेंगे, लेकिन उनको आरोपी के घेरे में लेकर उनको अब्यूज ना किया जाए, ये भी उतना ही बराबर है।
Well, those are pictures on your screen coming and that's Deepika Padukone coming out, and that in that cap is Ranveer Singh with her husband, both of them sitting in that Maybach car, which is right outside the airport in Mumbai, Kalina. That's where the chartered planes come, and that was the entrance from where we saw Deepika and Ranveer Singh coming out of the airport. If we can keep visuals of Deepika and Ranveer coming out of the airport on the right side of our screens. Yes, that's the car that's coming out. Media people trying to ask, get a question in sideways to Deepika. She's of course, she stopped. Is she going to make a statement? Well, let's just be on those visuals.
To face Narcotics Control Bureau. Deepika, are you prepared to face Narcotics Control Bureau? Deepika, what happened? Deepika, you will take those questions to Deepika Padukone. Deepika, and there you see this is blue Mercedes which is heading towards her home. Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh both have left for their residence, and
well, there are enough people who are out there in Mumbai who are out to get a glimpse of their favorite stars, Deepika and Ranveer, and also, of course, huge contingent of media present there, and as Deepika and Ranveer Singh leave from the airport for their residence. But at this moment, while we are getting those visuals of Deepika leaving, is there any possibility of her making a statement? Well, I don't think so. She's sped off. And of course, any words, Siddhant, that you got in from Deepika or Ranveer when they left the airport?
well, yes, Navika, I presume that we were cutting it live. I asked some specific questions to Deepika Padukone, that is she prepared to face the Narcotics Control Bureau? Has she ever consumed drugs in her life? Why was she asking for hash and weed from Karishma? So these were my 3 specific questions to her. You see, Mumbai police has blocked the traffic for media personnel, those who were planning to follow the couple till their Prabhadevi residence, Navika. Mumbai police blocked the traffic here outside the terminal so that their media personnel cannot follow them. It was a dark blue Maybach in which the couple went to their Prabhadevi residence. You can see these are the police personnel here. Suddenly, there's no security out there. They left after 45 minutes. What was happening inside, we really don't know, Navika. We were waiting for the couple to come, but it took almost 45 minutes for them to come out, and then they went. They did not take any of our questions. It was black. It was a black window. We cannot see inside. Our cameras did try to look into
tinted windows,
inside the vehicle.
The stars,
but you know,
Deepika and Ranveer have sped away from the airport, and coming back to Dr. Patra. And Dr. Patra, I want to ask you this question. Compensation is the question that has been raised by many. If no conviction happens, if you don't get anything substantial, because in the process you would have ruined a few reputations. How do you respond to that?
The first and foremost, I think when we started this debate and you were reporting on what exactly Deepika had also stated, Deepika had stated that I would be cooperating with the investigation. So remember, this is not about maligning anyone. This is an investigation, a very important investigation, and all those who have been summoned are expected to cooperate with this extremely important investigation. I would not say that anyone is going to get convicted or not convicted, because that depends on the amount of evidences that one has. So this is not a game of vendetta. This is not a game of quote unquote badle ki politics. Lastly, as far as compensation is concerned, there was a channel which said, I mean, there was an interview of Riya Chakravarti in which Riya claimed that she never touched drugs. She never, leave aside peddling, she never touched drugs. She never did drugs. And lo and behold, the very next day, she went and she accepted that, well, yes, she has done drugs, and she in fact probably has given out the list of the people whom she supplied drugs to. So what plays out in television channel and what happens finally when these actors and actresses go and depose before the
Tehseen
NCB,
Poonawalla, you agree with Dr. Patra? You agree with Dr. Patra? Quick, 30 seconds.
Well, I agree with Dr. Patra that there's going to be no conviction. All of this is being done only to distract from China, distract from the GDP, and to distract from the farmers' protest. Tomorrow Times now is covering the farmers' protest. I'm quite sure.
10 seconds on China and GDP.
MR Venkatesh, if there is no conviction, would we have ruined reputations? Would there be slander?
So what happens to Colonel Purohit? Do they have an answer? What happens to Narendra Modi on the Gujarat riots?
Two wrongs don't make a right.
No, but this is, no, please understand. This is the process of investigation. This is the process of democracy. This is the process that will go on in this country.
That's the whole point. That is the whole point, viewers. The process of investigation is on. If names come up in an investigation, the media has to report. And if names come up in a criminal case, then investigators have to investigate. What the investigation will show at the end of it all, we don't know. We can't prejudge. But to question us for putting out evidence of the chats on which basis these individuals have been summoned is not fair, simply because we're not saying hearsay. We're putting out evidence. Evidence as it exists in the moment that we are in. And every story that has been broken here on Times Now has been proved to be right, because summons have gone out to all the individuals who we had mentioned through our own investigation as reporters who have done this for several decades. And that is the question that I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Roses could be red. Violets could be blue. Don't dismiss the truth if it doesn't suit you. Let's wait for the truth to come out, but let's not be dismissive. This is an investigation in progress. We are not pronouncing guilt. We are not a court of law. But what we do is report facts, and all facts that we have reported so far have come out true. You want to shoot the messenger? It's your prerogative. But the messenger continues to do its job fearlessly and unbiasedly. Thank you very much to the panelists for joining me, and of course to you viewers for joining me on the Newshour tonight. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow on the Newshour at 9. Good night.